a past video, I likened the wokism to a zombie virus that it's difficult to interact with it and not also be infected or affected in some way. So every now and then, I need to just take a break. Just disassociate from all the woke nonsense going on around the world. Thankfully, there are still some places that we can do that. And just, settle and return to normal. So I've been doing that. I'm now back to normal. I am now ready and willing and able to dive once again into the filth that is wokeness. So this video is a bit old. The one that I'm going to refer, and it's about Neil deGrasse Tyson, acclaimed, famed astrophysicist, and he's talking about gender. So I'm going to run the video here. I couldn't find the opening clip of the video anywhere, but just to give context, prior to the video, he was making a point that he did an experiment, because that's what scientists do. And his experiment is watching what people wear. Brother, that's not an experiment. That's called being a woman. I was with a friend of mine recently, and as we drove by some people, women again. We said, okay, I would just say, okay, this person look good, this person look good, and then my friend, she was saying, oh, that person has a very nice pants. I'm like, pants, right? So sitting back and watching people what they wear is a woman thing. It's not an experiment, my guy. But anyway, here's the video.
Yes. Suppose my point is, apparently the XXXY chromosomes are insufficient, because when we wake up in the morning, we exaggerate whatever feature we want to portray the gender our choice. Either the one you're assigned, the one you choose to be, whatever it is. And so now so now just to tie a bow on this, I say to you, somewhere I think I read that the United States was a land where we have the pursuit of happiness. Yes. Suppose no matter my chromosomes, today I feel 80% female, 20% male. I'm gonna put on makeup. I'm gonna do that. Tomorrow I might feel 80% male. I'll remove the makeup and I'll wear a muscle shirt. Why do you care? Yeah. What business is it of yours to require that I fulfill your inability to think of gender on a spectrum?
Now, there are a litany of things wrong in such a short video. It's actually astonishing. And this is from someone who should be far smarter than I. But when people who should be leagues ahead of you in terms of intelligence and qualification, and they do not understand what 15 years ago a 3-year-old would be able to understand. We're living in some weird and twisted, messed up times. Firstly, what he puts forward is an intellectual trap. It's a dishonest argument, because there's no way you can win. He says that if men wear masculine clothes, then it's because the chromosomes are insufficient. But if men were to wear feminine clothes, he would take that as confirmation that chromosomes don't matter, because we don't dress in alignment with our sex. So this is a nonsensical argument, because either way he can just flip-flop to get his point across. The funny thing is, this trap fails because selecting to identify or to emphasize idealized traits for your sex does not mean that sex no longer exists. And there's a reason why I keep saying sex. Because he said gender, but he doesn't mean gender. Because later on he did mention male and female. Gender, I realized this many years ago, even in Jamaica, that people don't understand gender. A long time ago, they were used synonymously between gender and sex, right? But gender, you see, when the social justice warriors and the woke people and the intellectuals say that gender is a social construct, they're actually correct. However, gender is simply male-like or female-like, and gender is masculine and feminine. So qualities of being male are masculine, qualities of being female are feminine. That is gender. Sex is determined by your biology, right? Your chromosomes. Yes, you will have people with very unusual chromosomal makeup, but just the same way some people are born blind, it doesn't mean that sight doesn't exist. Because you have to, or see that human beings are able to see. That statement is now false because it's not inclusive of people who are not able to see. That is retarded. But you see, he has to use gender. He has to use a nebulous term, because if you were to say that sex does not exist, it's far more difficult to baptize people into his cult. So they use a term that's already vague and poorly understood. And he's also engaging in revisionist history and gaslighting. Towards the end of the video, he said that he's accusing normal people of forcing others to adapt to our inability to conceptualize gender as a spectrum. That's not the case. The reverse is true. The woke zealot cultists, so they're the ones who are forcing others to adapt and conform to their inability to understand that sex is male and female. And also their inability to disassociate gender from sex. You can have a masculine woman or a feminine man. They're still male and female. Because a man acts like a woman doesn't mean that he is a woman. Because those people, sissies in Jamaica, are tomboys for the women. Now, what's really messed up, again, is his entire reasoning is this. Because males dress like males, males can be females. That makes absolutely no sense. And also, and this is the arrogance. I saw a video now in which an African was saying this. The arrogance of the Americans. Now he's talking about not the everyday, not all everyday Americans, obviously, because I know that you have a lot of Americans who are rejecting this nonsense, and they are more than happy to leave other countries alone, right? So I'm not talking about you, but unfortunately, the representatives of your country tend to be woke, right? And the ideology that your country is pushing is more of a woke one rather than a conservative one. So the arrogance here, he says that in America, there is a pursuit of happiness. The way he says it makes it sound as if it's some important document. So I'm assuming it's on your Declaration of Independence or Bill of Rights or some kind of political document. Here's the disgusting twist that he's doing. Even if you want to play that part and say that Americans should normalize mental illness because as long as it makes the mentally ill person happy, that does not apply to the rest of the world. But yet the wokists are trying to forcibly export that ideology onto the rest of us. Down with our happiness. I'm not happy seeing a weird tranny or two funny money in a game. I'm not happy, but they don't care about that. So where's this pursuit of happiness here? So you are not restricting and limiting this nonsense into your own country. So don't come now and talk about, I believe I read that in America there is the pursuit of happiness. No matter with that. Because that's a foolishness. And also, even if I were an American, this is my counter to that point, because that's a point that on the surface it sounds very, very compelling. Pursuit of happiness, therefore let them do whatever they want. So here's the question. If you have a child, or rather here's a scenario of a child would want to eat candy all day and not brush their teeth. That would make them happy. Do we leave that child to pursue their happiness, or do we stop them and say, no, this will make you happy right now, but we're going to stop you because this will lead to harm in the long run? So the pursuit of happiness has asterisks, or should have asterisks in between it, because your pursuit of short-term hedonism at this point can lead to serious long-term harm, and that is not the moral or caring ideology or thought process that they think it is. Now, I'll be first to admit I'm not particularly a caring person, but you see, because I don't present or proclaim to be one, it will be actually more likely for me to tell people to do whatever they want, because I don't care. But when you are the one up there saying how you are so considerate and kind and thoughtful, and you are leading people astray just so you can feel good, no, you are one of the worst pieces of scum on this earth. Here's another example, because some of you might say, well, it's children aren't allowed to make certain decisions on their own because they aren't mature enough. Good. I'm glad that we agree that it shouldn't be that children aren't mature enough to chop off their genitals or take life-altering hormones. So I'm glad that we agree. So let us say that there's someone playing gleefully with a kite, and they're barreling towards a cliff. They don't see the cliff because they are so absorbed in playing with the kite. You see the cliff. Which is the more compassionate option? For you to forcibly stop that person in pursuit of their happiness, or for you to sit back and say, well, bless his soul, he might go dead, but as long as him dead, happy. Many people will say that the best thing, the compassionate thing to do is to not simply stand by and let someone jump off a cliff. You look at the suicide rate of the trans people then, and you tell me if encouraging someone to go into that lifestyle, and for someone who into that lifestyle, into that world, to not seek help to get out of it, you tell me if it is compassionate to encourage people to engage in behavior that will increase the chances of self-deletion. You're a very twisted person if that is the case. I believe that history will show that these advocates and bleeding heart people will be responsible for far more deaths of these transes and whatever, by encouraging this behavior, encouraging them to go on hormone blockers and chopping off healthy tissue, than I would be responsible for saying, no, you are not the opposite sex.